What's good, people? How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, please do subscribe down below, smash the like, hit the bell. Those things help out a lot. YouTube's not been notifying people when we upload, so make sure you hit the bell. Now guys, there are gonna be a few changes on the channel. I actually woke up this morning and saw that YouTube had demonetized the channel. Now for those that don't know, demonetization is pretty much like a strike, which fucking sucks. They already age restrict all of our videos, so we couldn't run ads on them anyway. But don't worry guys, we're still gonna put out dope content for you. But when it comes to the grow videos, we gotta come up with a plan for those. So we'll see some changes on the channel, so stay tuned, because the grow videos gotta live on, man. And you know we gotta give you guys that dope info. And that means all the YouTube channel memberships have been paused, so if you got a YouTube channel membership, it's currently on pause. Don't worry, we're gonna get it all sorted for you guys. Like I said, we're gonna make a few changes and everything will get sorted. So definitely stick around. Thank you, fam. Really appreciate you guys. Anyway guys, now since YouTube's such a pain in the, smash the like button to cheer me up, hit the bell. And we got a bunch of merch on our website guys, so definitely check out our website. We got some dope merch on there, and we're still giving out free testers with every purchase of merch from our website. Just send me a screenshot and I'll hook you up, fam. But anyway guys, a lot of people ask how much flower can you get from one plant. Yep, just one plant. Now as more states legalize and the plant becomes more accepted, many people are trying out their green thumb. And remember, we're here to help you grow that green thumb. But more people are trying their hand at growing at home. Some states may allow 6 plants, some may allow 12, some less, some more. But how much flower is that actually in dry buds that you can actually enjoy? An ounce, a pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds? What's going on? Well, the tricky thing is all plants aren't the same size, and many factors affect how big a plant will get and how dense its flowers will become. So we're going to go through these factors today and talk a little bit about the harvest process so you can estimate how much flower you can get from one plant. So without further ado guys, let's get into today's episode. Okay guys, now a huge question that a lot of growers ask is how much flower can I get from one plant? Well, it's a really hard question to give you one straight answer for, but you can sometimes get some estimates. Typically it'll depend on whether you're growing indoor or outdoor. In general, outdoor growers tend to get larger yields, just because there's more space, and there's no substitute for that natural sunlight. I actually saw a pretty interesting estimate on Leafly.com, but according to Leafly, if you got an indoor plant, one indoor plant can yield about a quarter pound, which is 224 grams, whereas an outdoor plant may yield around a half pound, which is around 224 grams. And if you're rolling up 0.5 gram joints, that'll last you about 4 months, based on 1 gram per day use. I use a lot more than that, dude. But anyway, interesting article. And for the outdoor growers, that half pound will last you about 7.5 months if you're rolling 0.5 gram joints and based on 1 gram per day use. But again, and sort of skewed statistics, right? Depends on like how much you use. But anyway, many factors affect how big a plant gets, but generally speaking, if you're growing a healthy plant, you can expect better yields than if your plant is not healthy. And like I said, when growing outdoors, plants can usually get massive because they aren't restricted to space. They don't have to stay in a grow tent or a closet or a confined area unless you got a big commercial op running. But it's really not that strange of a thing to get like a pound per plant or more when growing outdoors. And also when you're growing indoors, you're limited by how powerful your light is. And regardless if you're growing indoors or outdoors, if a plant becomes nutrient deficient, gets bugs, mold, or doesn't receive enough light, you can expect a lot less. Now when harvest time rolls around, most growers will likely have more flowers than they know what to do with. Sometimes you may have a stunted plant, especially if it's an auto. Those times you may find that you have less, but that's not always the case. Now many people save a certain amount of flower for smoking and make edibles, maybe concentrates and other products with the rest of their harvest. Now if you're growing indoors, you can grow maybe 1 or 2 plants and harvest it and start another, and that way you can keep a continuous cycle of growing and harvesting. That way you keep harvesting perpetually. But if you're growing outdoors, you may only get like 1 or 2 harvests a year. Most times only 1. Now one plant's worth of flower will last different people for different lengths of time. You may want to consider how often you medicate, like do you rip bowls, do you blaze joints, 2 grams a day, 2 grams a week, so it'll vary for everyone. That's what I'm trying to say. Now like I said, there are factors that will determine a plant's yield. The amount of dry buds you harvest from a plant is called the yield. Just like any crop such as corn, wheat, fruit, flowers and stuff, ideally when you're growing, you want to have high yields and high quality flower. Getting both takes a little practice. Now a plant will lose about 75% of its weight to moisture loss and trimming after being cut down. A considerable amount of moisture leaves the plant during the drying process, and trimming removes all the stems, branches, fan leaves, and trim from the plant. So if you weigh a freshly cut plant at 3 pounds, don't get too excited. You'll only likely get like 3/4 pound of finished dry bud, which is still a lot of flower. Now, a big plant doesn't necessarily mean big yields. Buds can be thin and wispy, and a medium-sized plant with quality dense nugs could yield more than a 6-foot tree. And also, if you're growing multiple plants, they can grow over one another and shade each other out. That reduces yields. So make sure to give plants plenty of space. Now, there are some major factors that contribute to a plant's yield, and these include strain or genetics, grow duration, light, climate, and soil type. Now, when it comes to the strain or genetics, certain strains grow big or tall and are high yielder simply because of their genetics. Traditionally, indicas grow shorter and stouter, and sativas grow tall and lanky. That's not always though. Sometimes you may find differences across the board, but it's a good rule of thumb. So strains like Blue Dream and Chem Dog and even Lemon Skunk are usually like pretty sativa dominant and are known for their high yields. They're really tall and lanky strains. I grew a really nice Blue Dream auto once, and I was pleasantly surprised with how tall it got. But other strains like Runts, aside from its candy-like flavor, it gets its name because its buds grow small like the run of the litter. It might be a low yielder, but it usually get high quality flower. Now, growth duration. How long you allow a plant to grow or the length of time from seed to germination to harvest is one of the most significant factors that determine yield. If you start growing seeds in March rather than in May, those plants will have 2 extra months to get big. When growing outdoors, the local climate is the main determining factor of when you can put seeds in the ground. Some regions are too cold to put plants outside until May, but you can start growing plants indoors with the right setup. But when you're growing indoors though, the grow duration is determined by how much space you have to work with. If you got a big basement or a shed with lots of space, you can let the plants veg for months and get as big as you want before forcing them to flower. But if space is tight, like in a grow tent or other small areas, you may only be able to let your plants get a few feet tall. Now, light is another factor. How much light a plant receives is highly variable. When growing outside, it all depends on where a plant is located to receive the most light throughout the entire season. Plants like full sun, at least 6 hours of direct sunlight every day. If a plant is in the shade or gets shaded as the light changes throughout the season, it can affect yields. Now, indoors, it depends on how powerful your light is. A small 200-watt light is great for a small grow tent, but you'll need something bigger for a bigger space, which also means a more expensive light. That said, be sure to prune your plants, remove dead leaves and flowers and branches that won't turn into sizable buds. Clearing out some of that plant matter will allow the quality buds to get more light. Now, we went into a lot of detail about defoliation, especially during flower in one of our most recent episodes, so check it out. Now, often overlooked is climate. Plants typically like warm climate temperatures. Think of Northern California's Emerald Triangle region, but certain strains thrive in different temperatures. Traditionally, indicas like colder, drier climates, and sativas like warmer, humid climates. Sudden extreme changes in temperature can affect a plant's growth and yields. Like a sudden cold snap can slow a plant's growth, or a heat wave can dry out a plant. So pay attention to the climate. That goes for indoors and outdoors. Now, soil types. Different soils have different nutrient levels, and some nutrients can promote plant growth. You can also add nutrients to soil or water to help plants grow big and strong. Also, if you're growing in containers, the size of the container or the amount of soil in the plant's pot that the roots have access to will affect the size of the plant. If you're growing in too small of a container or too small of a pot, it can stunt the plant's growth. But if you're growing directly in the ground, this will give your plant's roots plenty of space, but you may need to add nutrients depending on the soil's quality. Now, training is also a massive one. A lot of growers may or may not train their plants, but when you train your plants, you're able to manipulate the structure and the shape of the plant. You're able to improve the bud size, and there are many different types of training methods that you can use. There's low stress training methods and there's high stress training methods. Low stress training methods includes low stress training such as LST, which is basically like a form of bending the branches gently over to improve the bud size and expose more areas to the light. Whereas high stress training methods such as topping, fimming, super cropping, these are more high stress methods, and they're called high stress simply because they are more high stress methods. They stress the plant out a bit more. Now, to increase your yield per plant, you definitely want to employ some of these training methods. Whether it's low stress training, LST, topping, fimming, height, super cropping, these really do increase your yields. Like I said, the main aim is to expose more bud sides to the light. More bud sides means more bud. More bud, more flower. Got it? So these are few of the factors that affect how much flower you can get from one plant. It will vary from grower to grower. There's no one size fits all answer to this question, so drop a comment down below and let me know what's the most amount of flower that you've got from one plant. And tell me how you did it. Like, what strain was it? How long did you veg for? What sort of light you got? What was the climate? Like, what did you run it in? What sort of soil, water, DWC? Like, talk to me, guys. What did you guys do? Because there are literally a lot of factors that affect how much flower you get from one plant. So if you guys were looking for like one answer, one straight answer from me, I haven't got that for you guys because like I said, tons of factors affect this shit. And everyone grows differently. But that's the beauty of it all. So drop a comment down below and let me know how much you've pulled from one plant and what you did to get there. We love hearing from you guys. And I'm always down in the comments chilling out with you. Don't forget to check out the website and cop some merch. Smash the like button on your way out. And check out this video right here and this video right here. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace, fam.